Well, my guest on the show today is someone who can easily be called as the celebrity doctor of Mumbai. From politicians to film stars to market gurus, well, he has helped them all. When I say help them all, his mission in life is to save lives. And it gives me great pleasure now to welcome Pratit Samdani on this edition of Khaane Pe Charcha. And our viewers will fondly recall that how supportive and how helpful he was on the channel when the world was hit with COVID crisis. He's a good friend, but above all, he's a great human being. So nice to have you, Nitina.
Thank you so
for
much,
joining us.
Nikunj, again. And it's always been my pleasure to come on your show because you're just outstanding. Your show is outstanding, whether it's medical and, of course, if you talk about the markets, there's no better show than yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's understand the community which we have, the stock market community. In the stock market community, whether we like it or we don't like it, they have this inertia, they have limits, they have, if I may use the word, urgency and a lot of anxiety. World may change, but those 4 habits of the trader community never changes. Now that's good and bad. But let's talk about the bad. And I'm going to take a recent example of what happened with one of the co-founders of Zerodha. Sad but true, ugly but reality. What are the lessons to be learned for our viewers?
So, as I always tell everyone, poverty is a curse, but believe me, too much money is also not absolute happiness. And the problem with the wealthy today, and I would assume we are talking about the wealthy society who follows you and your channel, and when we say the stock market, when it's right on the top, especially the Indian markets, comes problems, comes sedentary lifestyle, comes absolute immobilization, sleeping less, as we spoke that day, hurry, worry and curry. So these are the common problems, and these are modifiable problems. You can correct your lifestyle, you can correct what you eat, you can walk well to stay fit, you can sleep better to stay healthier. As I also say, you can buy a bed, but you can't buy sleep. You can buy food, but the rich can't always eat it because of their health style problems. You can afford a swimming pool, but doesn't mean you can swim. You can buy a car, but you should know how to drive it. So that's the problem. So the unfortunate instance that happened with the Zerodha founder is that he had a minor stroke. Fortunately, he was well aware of the stroke. He used what we call as the fast analysis, reached the hospital. Now, I wouldn't know about his personal lifestyles, but the common risk factors of stroke include high blood pressure, heart diseases, kidney diseases, heart failure, high cholesterol, and nevertheless, a bad family history is always on its way. I also tell many of the young people who come to me for marital advices that you must see horoscopes, but you also must see family health scopes. That's something that's very, very important. That doesn't mean you negate someone or disrespect someone, but it's great to know the lineage of a family.
The new business you've started, marital
Not as yet. Not as yet.
Okay, so let's address hurry, worry and curry. Hurry. That's the human nature, right? We're always in a hurry. We are always distracted. And if that was not enough, our natures have changed because of mobile phone. So hurry is, I think, which is here. Hurry is something which can be managed, but everybody ignores it. What does too much of hurry or time management crisis do in your life?
So too much of hurry, running behind something, washing your hands from the normal basics can cause problems. And it's easily modifiable. See, everyone is in a hurry. We live in a world which is full of competitiveness. And we need to outperform. We need to prove ourselves and prove the world that we are worthy of living to ourselves and to the world. But hurry can be certainly mitigated. You must do what's required. You must do it properly, adequately, but you must not cross steps. You can't go from standard 1 to standard 10. You must go to that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to reach 10. So hurry can be certainly stopped. The moment you hurry too much, there are these excessive hormones in the body that release. We call them catecholamines. The adrenaline, the steroid hormones, and they can cause adverse effects. They can cause high blood pressure. They can cause palpitations or tachycardia. They can cause heart failure. So this is something that medically should be done. Meditation is a great option to combat this. Putting a timeline or a frame line to what you're supposed to do is even a better option.
So I would imagine hurry and worry are interlinked. But what about curry? Curry perhaps will take some of your worries away.
Well, food, most people here in this world live to eat. My advice is eat to live. And if you live longer, you'll eventually eat more because you're going to have more years of life. So curry is something that's very, very, very absolutely easily negotiable. You can cut off the curries from your food. You have several options. You have great diet plans. Every restaurant, every household has lots of healthy food to eat. So avoid that spicy food, avoid that saturated, rich, fat food. I often say avoid all the whites, the bread, biscuit. In your Gujarati colloquial language, when I say your viewership is majority of Gujarati, I say dokla, patra, khandvi, papad, chutney, khiche, athano, thumbs up, limca, coke, Pepsi. So the patient says, to doctor sahab, su khaun mu? So I have to tell them, bahut kuch hai khane ke liye, ye sab nahi khaiye. We say, ye to hum roz hi khate hai.
Just say that again.
Dokla, patra, khandvi, papad, chutney, khiche, athano, thumbs up, limca, coke, Pepsi, bread, biscuit, idli, dosa.
You've championed it now.
So, but you can avoid them. There are substitutes. You can have chila instead of dosa. You can have rava idli instead of the normal idli. And of course, the pakoras and the diet cokes and the foods have to go off.
How did you master that line?
I mean, it's just by practice.
When you look at the health fads, potato is good, but potato is bad. Banana is a superfood, but banana is also carb. Too much of protein is bad news, but no protein is even worse news. What is right, what is wrong? Because what we are actually drowning in what could be called as information flow. And there are contradictions. And then there are contradictions within contradictions. What is right, what is wrong?
That's really the worry about with the hurried messages, especially on your phone when you get on WhatsApp, and what not to eat and what to eat. It's sometimes more difficult realistically what to eat. So everything is important for every human being. You need the protein, you need the fat, you need the carbohydrates, and you need some sugar. So it has to be individualized. Proteins cannot be zero. You need that muscle, you need bone strength, you need protein. Carbohydrates are needed to store your fat, to store your sugar. You need some carbohydrates. You can't be on a zero carb diet. The moment you go on a zero carb diet, Nikunj, you actually increase your fat diet, you increase your saturated diets. So you'll eventually, biochemically see that the triglycerides are going up, the total cholesterol is going up a little bit because you're indulging into saturated fats. So on an average, you need about 1 gram per kilogram of body weight in terms of protein. And when I say this, I mean you have no underlying but really kidney disease especially, and no underlying liver disease. So it has to be individualized, but I think you need all sorts of food content for each and every person.
So I'll break it up for our viewers, Doc. Thank you very much. So this is something which is little carbs, lot of protein and fiber.
This is absolutely no curry and some healthy vegetables. And I really like what you've ordered, Nikunj, because you've not ordered juices. And I would tell the viewers why juices are not that good. Because if I ask any one of you all to have a glass of, say, pomegranate juice or banana milkshake, you will have 4 bananas going into them. But if you give them 4 bananas, they can't have it. You have them to have 1 glass of orange juice, they'll have 3 glasses of orange juice. Each glass of orange juice may have 4 oranges. I challenge anyone to have 12 oranges raw. So this is even better than juice. Juices just sound fancy. Fruits are real.
Okay, but the whole point which I would like to break it for our viewers, and please correct me if I'm wrong, some things I've learned from you, is that there are 2 types of diseases, infectious, and then there is chronic, lifestyle diseases. Infection is something which is not in your hand. A cold was an infectious disease. Chronic is something which is a lifestyle disease, which can be managed. When you see your patients and when you look at your years and years of practice as a doctor, do you find patients who have more infectious disease or more chronic disease?
It's a very, very smart question, and you're touching a preventive social medicine in it. If you see the last decade, say about 100 years ago, it was infectious diseases that was killing people. Today, it's dementia, it's Alzheimer's, it's cardiovascular diseases, it's diabetes, it's all lifestyle diseases. And then comes respiratory diseases, which was then the foremost killer. So you're right, the non-communicable disease today are topping the causes of death not only in India, but globally, worldwide.
But why is that happening?
That's really because of lifestyle. See, if I were to say in terms of India, if you look at if I talk about the womb, so the India was a poor country. It's booming right now, and I think there's no end to it. We had starvation. So it's like Darwin's theory. When you're starving, whatever you get, you want to eat. Then you started becoming a little richer. You could afford the basic food. You started indulging in food. Now that you're indulging in food over the last 50 years, you're getting non-communicable diseases stopping. So diabetes, blood pressure, heart disease. You never had remote controls 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Today, you have remote controls. You never had bells on the table. You have to get up. If at all you want to shout to your help, today you have to just press the button and you have something. So sedentary lifestyle has a big role to play. Modernization is something that's great, but it has its ill effects.
Let's look at what per capita income can do, which means you're eating more processed food. You're getting sugar on the call now, whether it is juices or whether it is sodas. I mean, the combination, I think, is something which is changing. Do you think these are the perils and the ugly side of what could be called as a prosperity binge? We are eating more processed food.
Processed food is a prosperity binge, and unfortunately, that's absolutely true. Processed foods is dangerous, and if you see every day, people like you are, making our viewers aware that soon we may have packages that will actually tell you how much is the saturated fat, how much it's processed, what's the storage period. So I think this is going to change. The children of today need to be trained for tomorrow. Unfortunately, the adults of yesterday were not trained 100 years ago because, as I said, we've just evolved.
So let's make a framework here and let's address an audience 40 plus. 40 plus is when your body starts speaking out, whether it is in terms of, thank you very much, whether it is health or whether it is the muscle mass or whether it is your cardiovascular health. If one has to look at a checklist and a framework for someone who's 40 plus, what are the necessary do's and what are the necessary evils to avoid?
So you are coming, as we're aging less, our longevity is increasing. India, 50 years ago till today, our mean average lifespan is about 70, 71, which is only going to go to probably 80 in the next decade or more. So you talk about midlife health crisis, not in the 50s, but now in the 40s. Yes, you should have a checklist. I think if you have a very strong family history, you must get your cardiovascular system completely tested. And it doesn't mean testing in terms of blood tests and scans. The art of medicine lies in listening to the patient, touching the patient, feeling the problems, then prescribing tests, and then giving a conclusion. So the art of medicine of listening and touching shall never go. But yes, you need to do a cardiovascular screening. Blood pressure, something so absolutely, patients come and say, but I didn't have a problem. I tell them, are you waiting for a problem? Are you waiting for a pregnant lady to deliver and then realize you were 9 months pregnant? So it's important that you get your blood pressure checked. We are only at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to blood pressure recognition and testing. Until you don't go and check, you're not going to take it. The other problems happen with cholesterol.
Okay.
So the cholesterol level should be managed. If you have what we call as an ASCVD, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease phenotype, or a disease which includes stroke, heart failure, heart attack, you must get your values of cholesterol completely what is recommended. And the recommendation today, I'm telling you tomorrow's recommendation for triglycerides, but I'll tell you what I know today is 126 to 128 milligrams, no more than that. HDL is the high density lipoprotein or the high density cholesterol lipid. Higher the better. If you have values of more than 60 milligrams, it's a negative predictor for heart disease. Now it comes to the LDL. That's what we call as the evil cholesterol. If you have an underlying atherosclerotic disease or a stroke, your LDL values should be less than 70 milligrams. Now, if you honestly ask me to get someone less than 70, you have to be on a pill. And the pill commonly we use is a statin. Then comes to diabetes. Diabetes screening just doesn't mean a fasting sugar. Most patients do a fasting sugar. They behave well in the last couple of preceding days, and they come and say, my sugar is 102, I don't have diabetes. Initially, when you get diabetes, your postprandial sugar rises. So the post-meal sugar is rising. So the glycosylated hemoglobin, or what I call is the A1C, is the hallmark. When you see a patient, you've got marks of insulin resistance, obesity, acanthosis nigricans, that's hyperpigmentation on the neck, on the elbows. This person is insulin resistant. You need to treat him today. Treat him with lifestyle diseases and or medications. So these are things that you must commonly do.
What makes Pratit Samdani a good doctor? Out of the pool of doctors, what makes you the best in the business?
If I were to accept that compliment.
It's a genuine, heartfelt compliment.
Thank you again. So I just have a caveat to say. A good doctor can treat an illness. A great doctor treats the patient. So I think you need to look at the patient as a holistic patient. He is one full thing. You're not pulling his heart out or his lungs out. You're not pulling his leg or his intestine out. He is one body.
What would your advice be to those who want to pursue medical as a profession? There is one side which is disruption, AI and all kind of things which are coming in terms of pattern recognition. Then there is whole commitment towards society and the lifestyle balance which you'll have to do. And then there is whole inspiration and aspiration that how much wealth you can genuinely create. How would you blend these three things for somebody who's a young guy, wants to take advice from a super doctor like Pratit Samdani?
Amazing question for the youth. And medicine is truly a loving profession. If you have the love for medicine, go ahead and do it. If you want to make money out of medicine, this is not the profession you should choose. I would say if you love medicine, go ahead and do it. We need doctors. We need doctors in rural India. We need doctors in cities. Stay back in our country. Serve the people. Don't run behind money. Money will come to you automatically. If you ask me, is this the best profession? Would I advise my junior to become a doctor? My answer truly is no. It's a harrowing profession. You're on call 24/7. Patients take you for granted. It's not like the West where they can't reach you any moment. And you do have instances where patients are always unhappy. You have patients complaining, as you asked me, we went to XYZ doctor and I waited for 4 hours. But I mean, if you want to go to a good doctor, you will have to wait. If you want the doctor to make a correct diagnosis, he is going to take time.
Final question, and something which we are learning and evolving. If Pratit Samdani of 2024 meets Pratit Samdani of 2000, that's 24 years, you must be still studying medicine. What would Pratit Samdani of 2024 tell Pratit Samdani of 2000?
Oh, one liner.
Your hair was there that time?
I had some hair. One liner. The hunt is better than the kill.
Okay.
The hunt is always better, but to make the kill, it's only 1 in 1,000 who may make the kill. Not every lion in the jungle will get a kill every night. So I've had a struggling life. I changed 5 local trains to go to my medical college. I have gone to New Bombay. That's why I lost my hair. And so it's been a journey, but I love my profession. I'm living for my profession. I'll continue to love my profession with the motto, do no harm. If you can't do good to someone, don't harm anyone. That's what we've learned with Hippocrates.
So I can put this like a billboard outside your bedroom when you want to get up and say every morning, do no harm.
Absolutely. Family.
And final question, what's one life-changing advice you've ever received which you would like to share with us?
Life-changing advice was right in the beginning with my mom that don't run behind money. If you do well, if you work hard, if you're sincere, you'll get everything that you ever desire.
Do you believe in that?
I completely.
It's easier to say, but difficult to implement.
I completely believe in it. But again, it's the hunt and the kill. So there's a long distance between hunting and reaching the kill. It's a long run. So there's frustration. There are more downs than there are ups. So you just have to be resilient, you have to be mentally stable, you have to be strong and just go. It's like a sea. It's like an ocean with currents. The currents that are going up are going to make you topple, but you should have strength to get up and do it. As you say, it's easier said than done, but it's not impossible. It's more than possible.
You know, when you're planning the show, I thought we will talk a lot about medicine, but
But
you've
you've done
understood
everything
life.
else.
You've understood a lot about, how to really change small things in your life. And those small changes can have a real big impact in terms of how you go as far as managing stress, hurry, worry, and curry. Thank you very
Khaane
much.
Pe
And with
Charcha.
that, it's back to the studio.
Thank you.